Welcome back to EVPL Presents a special moment in Black history. 2 men, 1 life mission. In our last video, we introduced 2 founding fathers of Black history, Carter G. Woodson and Arturo Arthur Schomburg. Last time, we told of their childhood stories. Now we will go into part 2 of our series, Learning, Working, Teaching. Times were hard for the Woodson family, and although they owned a farm, it was worn out and it only brought in $100 or less a year, so feeding 7 children was a struggle. Carter could only attend school for 4 months out of the year. The rest of the time was spent working on the family's farm. But school was not the only place where learning happened. James Henry taught his family to stand up for themselves, and although his father couldn't read or write, he believed strongly in education. He learned about the world through Carter, who would read the newspapers to him whenever they could find one. This taught Carter about the world outside of farm life also. Although he wanted to go to high school, Carter's family needed him to earn money. He worked on other farms and drove garbage wagons until he decided to become a coal miner in West Virginia with his brother. Not even 17, mining was extremely hard work, but he knew that if he could do that type of work, he could do anything. In the coal mines, Carter met a man much like his father, also a Civil War veteran, who believed in education. Oliver was extremely well educated, but like Carter's father, he could not read or write. Oliver made his home into a reading room and sold ice cream and fruit at affordable prices for the other miners. Carter originally went for the food, but then Oliver found out that he could read. Oliver wanted Carter to read the newspapers to him, and Carter loved the idea. Oliver had taught Carter that you can learn through others. Oliver's reading room became a type of school for him. It became Carter's job to answer questions and inform the men about economics, politics, and new laws. Carter was inspired to make it his own life's work, to learn about the past from these men whose lives would never make it into history books. After 3 years of working in the mines, Carter went back to school in Virginia, finished high school in 2 years, went to college, and became a teacher. He got his master's at 33, and at 37, he was the second African American to earn a PhD from Harvard and the first to have slave parents. While Carter had an oral history relayed to him through his family, Arturo's love for the written word would go with him from the cigar worker's reader to the 5th grade. And as he read the history books, he wondered, where were the heroes who looked like him? His teacher took it upon herself to tell him that the Negro had no history and there was nothing worth noting. But Arturo did not believe her. He decided that he would take on the mantle of historian of his people. He noticed how much prouder the white children were of their heritage than the black children were about theirs in History Club. This caused Arturo to pore over everything he could find about his people, and he was always searching for more. At 17, in 1891, Arturo immigrated to New York from Puerto Rico. He was now living with and amongst the cigar workers and shared in their cause for Puerto Rico's and Cuba's independence from Spain. In night school, while learning English, he also taught Spanish. His desire was to pursue law and medicine, but according to his story, his school records were lost in a fire. All that could be salvaged was documentation from kindergarten. Setting aside his dream, he worked as a messenger and a clerk at a law firm that represented Johnson & Johnson. His extraordinary recall of detail allowed him to index and memorize thousands of pages from that case, but still his hunger for what his own race had contributed grew and grew. Arturo called this hunger the book hunting disease. There were not any libraries that specialized in this subject. So Arturo took on this case. He began to look everywhere, anywhere, to find these rare books and materials. Arturo was an expert at finding the books that told about his culture and his people's contributions. 4 years later, Arturo married his first wife, and they had 3 sons. Unfortunately, one son died in his infancy. When his wife died at a young age, he married another. They had 2 children together. When she passed, he married again, and there were 3 more children born to Arturo. All of Arturo's wives' first name was, surprisingly, Elizabeth. And despite his 7 children's names being Spanish, he refused to teach them his native tongue because now they were Americans. This concludes part 2 of our series. Thank you so much for joining us for 2 Men, 1 Life Mission, Carter G. Woodson and Arturo Schomburg. We will be back, same place, same time. Check out the resources I've posted after this video. Thank you. Bye-bye.